Hi, it's Patsy, and come on to do a hashtag. I've been on once this morning and just uploaded a walkthrough of a deck that I got, but now I wanted to pop on and do this hashtag by James Feeney called The Reader I Am, which is a series of questions. I think it's 9, kind of talking about the way that I read and that kind of thing. So I thought I'd pop on and do that. Now, my bird is in the background, Callie, and she's making herself be known. She's very rarely quiet, and she's whistling, she's tweeting, she's shouting, so you may well hear her, but yeah, that's Callie. So the first question, what is the primary system of divination you use as specific as possible? So I use the RWS system. I learned with that system 20 years ago, and it's a system that I like to use still today. I'm not a fan of the original artwork on those decks, even though that's what I learned with. I much prefer decks to have a bit more going on in the card. The original deck doesn't really speak to me, the artwork, and I do use it sometimes, but not often. I'd much prefer using decks that are based on that system, but have some cards have different takes on it. I like to see that, but it kind of in that structure of RWS, like the one that I got today, the Universal Celtic Tarot. It's RWS, but it's got its own take on the cards, and there's so much going on with this imagery. So this is the kind of decks that I like. I mean, my favourite decks are things like Shadowscapes, Tarot of the Hidden Realms, and Joy de Vivre, them kind of decks. So decks that a lot of people consider very busy decks are decks that I tend to pull and tend to buy, because they're the decks that I seem to get more from. So yeah, so I like decks that are RWS based, but not particularly the RWS artwork. So the second question is, who do you read for? I read for anybody and everybody. I read for myself, and I read for my family, and I read for my friends, and I read for anybody who asks for reading. I have a group on Facebook and a page on Facebook. I do readings on them. So yeah, I mean, I read for anybody. What types of readings do you normally do? Topics, spreads, time, medium? I use not many spreads. Specific spreads that I use is if I'm doing my past life readings or spirit readings, then I tend to use spreads. But if I'm not, and I'm just doing a general readings for people, or for myself or whatever, I tend to use, I mean, for myself it's usually 3 cards, but the 9 card box is one that is probably my most used tarot spread. Just laying out the 9 cards in the box shape. That is probably my most used spread in just tarot readings. And I also like to use 21 cards. I think it's called, you know, there's 21 cards laid out in 3 different rows. So that is another one. If I'm doing an in-depth reading for a client or something, that is another one that I do like to use. But apart from that, I don't always use specific decks unless a specific spread, unless there's spreads going around on YouTube to kind of join in with, and then I do like to try them out. But if I'm reading for other people, it's usually the 9 card box or the 21 card box, and that's what I tend to use. Topics, what sort of topics? I'll read on most things. I mean, there's certain things that I won't. Healing, health, you know, health and healing, that kind of things. I don't like to do readings, anything to do with that. But that's probably end third party. I'm not very keen on doing, you know, if somebody come to me and said, could you find out what such and such up the road is doing, then no, I wouldn't do that reading either. But apart from that, I do any types of readings. And I like to incorporate other things as well sometimes into my tarot readings. So sometimes it's just with oracle cards that I'll pull alongside the tarot. Sometimes I use my charms and throw some charms on the cards as well. Sometimes I use my pendulum. So it's kind of mix and match sometimes. Sometimes I'll pull out some Lenormand cards and Oracle cards to go with the tarot. It depends on what I feel like on the day. But yeah, so that's the type of readings I do. What is your reading style? X, analytic, intuitive, spiritual, predictable, fortune. So my style of reading is intuitive, I suppose. I do, that's why I like these decks so much, because something on them, a particular card will stand out to me, and each deck is completely different, so I'll get different things from different decks. So even though I always have the basic meaning in the back of my mind, if that card is speaking to me differently than what that particular meaning is, then I'll always go with that. Some cards I have my own meanings for, because that's over time what I've found when they come out for me is the meaning of that card. So it's a kind of a mixture of intuitive, the readings, but also the basic meanings, intuitive, and also meanings that I've kind of adapted the cards to in over the 20 years that I've been reading. So it's a kind of a mixture. Predictive, yes, I do predictive readings. I know that people out there say we shouldn't do predictive reading with tarot. I do predictive reading. I do fortune telling. So yeah, and I have no problem with saying that. People who come to me for readings always want to know how something's going to go. Is this relationship going to work out? Am I going to get this job? All them kind of things. They don't come to me for anything other than them kind of readings, and I'm quite happy to do them. I'm quite comfortable doing them. So yeah, I do predictive and I do fortune retelling readings too. So yeah, I kind of do all types of readings. What types of readings do you conduct? Example, evaluative, coaching, empowering, reflective. Well, I hope that all my readings have all a bit of everything in, I don't do specific readings to coach somebody. I don't do specific readings to kind of do a counselling kind of reading. I don't do them specifically do them kind of readings, but I will always go into the meanings of the cards and what I'm getting from them. And if I try to empower somebody, if it kind of have that need to try to empower them, then I'll try to empower them. And I do try to be very reflective, and I always keep going back to different things in what they've said and how they can go about helping themselves and empower themselves by reflecting back on certain things that have come up in the reading. So I'd like to think that I kind of do all of that, but I don't, like I say, I don't do specific readings to counsel somebody or to coach them in any way like that. So the next question is, what is your ideal reading atmosphere? I can read anywhere, and I do read anywhere. I have done it before. I've read fairs and fetes. I've read in shops. I've read on the beach. I've read in shops, cafes, and I've read there just about anywhere. Somebody's living room table, somebody's sofa. I've read on the sofa myself. I've read on the floor. So it really doesn't matter to me where I read, but if I had a choice, it would be in my own space, because it's the space I'm comfortable with. But it doesn't really bother me. Reversals, jumpers, shopping style. Yeah, I read reversals. Only if they come out reversed. I don't, as I shuffle the deck in my area, if a card comes out reversed, then I will read it, but I don't specifically go out of my way to do reversals. If it comes out, then it has a specific meaning. The same as jumpers. If they come out, then that's the ones I'll keep in a general reading that I do, because they have a specific reason for jumping out at me. But then with readings like my past life readings and spirit readings, I only use jumpers. So I don't lay the cards, I wait for them to jump out at me, because I think, the way I work with past life and spirit readings, it's the jumpers that I'm interested in. So it's a bit of both. I use jumpers in a usual tarot reading and spreads, but as a side note sort of thing, and I also lay them out, but I only use jumpers in my past life readings and spirit readings. My shuffling style, I just overhand shuffle. I've tried shuffling with well, I can't get my words out, riffle shuffling, can't do it, go everywhere, so I don't even attempt it, I'll just overhand shuffle. So what is your delivery tone? Example, constructive, positive, reflective, action orientated. Again, I would hope that my delivery tone incorporates all those wherever it's needed in the reading. If it calls for me to be constructive, then I hope that I'm constructive. If I need to, I'm always trying to be positive, even if they've had a reading what's really pretty crap. I do try to not change the reading to make it something what it isn't, but to kind of, give them that light at the end of the tunnel, even if it means pulling out more cards for them to kind of look further ahead. So I tend for them to leave more on a positive note than going away feeling, oh my God, what on earth has she just told me? Reflective, yeah, I think if, there's a call to be reflective in your readings, then be reflective. Action orientated, yeah, I will always point out ways that they can move forward and what they can do to move forward. So I would like to say my delivery tone hopefully has all of those elements in. What are some of your personal reading quirks? Now this is the last question. What are some of your personal reading quirks? Example, correspondence you tend to draw on, habits you have, little details that you alone use and have. Now I don't know if I have any quirks, to be fair. It's probably one of the main things with me is I know a lot of readers ask somebody to shuffle the cards or handle the cards or whatever. I don't do that. That is something that I don't do. I get their energy by feeling into their energy before I start the reading. I don't need their energy to touch my cards. I can reach out myself and get their energy into the cards myself. I've never done it any other way. I've only ever done it that way. Whether or not that's to do with me as a healer, because I'm a healer who goes into energy, I'm an energy healer, so I do go into people's energy, whether it's something to do with that. But also I think a lot of my readings when I first started out was online, or email readings, that kind of thing, or through the post, writing to people, and writing it all down, so they wasn't face to face with me, so they couldn't touch my cards, they couldn't shuffle them and all the rest of it. So I think that is why even now, even if somebody was sat opposite me, they still wouldn't be shuffling the cards. It'd be me that would be shuffling and me going into their energy and delivering the message without them having to touch any of my cards. So I guess that is about the only habit that I think that I have. I mean, it's hard to say yourself, because you don't see yourself, that this is how you are. So I don't think you really pay much attention to any sort of habits that you have. But I would say I definitely know that, because people say, do you want me to shuffle the cards? And I'm like, no, I'll shuffle the cards. I don't need you to do anything. Just sit there and kind of put your thoughts into what it is that you want answering, and I'll just take it from there. And that's how I've always done it, and that's how I continue to do it, even if somebody's sitting opposite me. So yeah, so that is all the questions, and I thought it was really interesting. And that I'm very laid back as a reader. I'm very, I don't need all the stuff around me. As long as I've got a bit of incense and the space is cleared, then I'm happy to go. If I'm outside, I don't even need that. I'm just happy to go anywhere and just pull my cards out and to read. Do you know what I mean? I don't have the need for things to go with my cards. I could just pick my cards up, go out the door, and I'll go reading anywhere. But that's me, very laid back kind of way I do readings and what have you. And that is my style, and that's the way I've always been. So yeah, so I hope that kind of gives you a bit of idea of the sort of reader that I am. I've really enjoyed doing this, and I should be now going and watching others. I don't like to watch too many before I answer mine, but I'm going to go and watch a few others through the day. So thanks for watching, and I will be back to speak to you soon. Bye for now.